Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And bear with me, I've still got the flu today, but the show must go on. And that's obviously not why we are here. We're actually going to be talking about March 2017 real quick. Now, in March 2017, President Trump issued an executive order expediting the deployment of biometric verification identity to basically all travelers crossing the U.S. border. So whether you're coming over the border of Mexico or Canada, or you're flying in or out of an international airport, you are going to be basically tagged in facial recognition. Now, the mandate that he signed stipulates that facial recognition technologies must identify 100% of all international passengers, including American citizens, in the top 20 airports in the U.S. by 2020, because obviously we have a very porous border with all of the airports and Mexico and Canada and all of this. So the top 20 U.S. airports is where primarily a lot of international travelers come through. Now, here's the thing. In the United States, we actually have no laws governing the use of facial recognition. Courts have not actually ruled on whether facial recognition constitutes a search under the Fourth Amendment. And so we're in shaky legal ground here. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that the Department of Homeland Security is rushing to get these systems in place, but according to reports, which I've got notes on here, it's doing so in the absence of things like proper vetting, regulatory safeguards, and what some privacy advocates are calling essentially the defiance of law. Now, one of those privacy advocates is the Electronic Privacy Information Center, and they obtained 346 pages of documents due to Freedom of Information Act on this from the Department of Homeland Security. And they are basically looking at this as the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol is scrambling to set up this biometric system. They are estimating, that is the Border Patrol is estimating, that they are going to be looking at 16,300 flights per week. All the passengers on that coming into the United States, or more than 100 million passengers traveling to the United States annually that will be scanned in facial recognition. Now, these documents state explicitly that were obtained that there were no limits on how partnering airlines could use this facial recognition data. So if you're on an American flight internationally, or United or Lufthansa, Air Singapore, take your pick, and you're coming in, it is very possible if you're walking through one of their terminals, they can use this data as they see fit. Now, the documents go on to state even more that the Custom Border Patrol skipped portions of critical rulemaking processes, which required them to actually solicit public feedback before adopting the technology intended to be broadly used, obviously, on U.S. citizens and non-citizens as well. And that's a serious problem that privacy advocates have. Typically, when the government is rolling out something that affects U.S. citizens, they give us the ability to sit there and vet it. Famously, the FCC put this out when they were killing net neutrality, and John Oliver of Last Week Tonight basically had their entire website shut down when he got millions of people to basically go to that public site and actually write complaints about that rule. Not that it mattered, we still killed net neutrality. But beyond all of these implications, beyond privacy implications, surveillance, possible free speech implications, the facial recognition technology that they're implementing is currently inaccurate and biased. And I've talked about that before. Amazon, for example, has the recognition system with a K, and they basically, the ACLU applied that to 535 members of Congress against a criminal mugshot database to see if it would get false positives. And that recognition system falsely identified 28 members of Congress as criminals, and feel free to insert your own joke there. Now, it's only during a meeting last December, a couple of months ago, that the Customs and Border Patrols actually decided to do a 180 and say, you know what, we will limit the participating airlines and companies from using this data, but they didn't say to what extent. It's not necessarily clear, and I have some notes here from the article. The Customs Border Patrol did not explain what its current policies around data sharing of biometric information with participating companies and third-party firms are, but it did say that the agency retains photos for up to 14 days of non-U.S. citizens departing the country for evaluation of the technology and assurance of the accuracy of algorithms, which implies such photos might be used for further training for its facial matching AI. So there you go. If you are traveling internationally and you are a U.S. citizen, you are about to be put into a facial recognition database, myself included, given all of my travels and all of that. And so I'd love to hear what you guys think about that, but that is literally your news of the day and what's going on. And quite frankly, if this is what we're going to be doing here, I think we need to have proper safeguards in place, especially for data security. A lot of people have complained about having some kind of centralized ID system because Big Brother can watch you. And here we are, over 100 million people annually are going to be scanned into a facial recognition database by the U.S. government. So take that for what it's worth. And thanks for bearing with me and my voice here. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at Nick A. ESP. Thanks, guys.